right, we got a lot to get into, so let's do it. And we're going to start with the NBA. Max Strus, 59-foot shot at the buzzer, lifts the Cleveland Cavaliers over the Dallas Mavericks. Strus heave as time expired. His fifth made three-pointer in the final 4 minutes gave Cleveland a wild 121-119 win over Dallas. The memorable shot was the second longest game-winning buzzer beater in the three-point era. Stephen A., unreal.
It was. I got to give credit where credit is due. I mean, Strus, there was an APB out for him in the playoffs last year when he was playing for Miami. You couldn't find him. I mean, they still looking for him in South Beach. Couldn't find him anywhere. So that was certainly problematic, no doubt about that. But in the end, he's going to Cleveland. He's looked pretty good. They look great. And I got to give credit where credit is due. We all know what a huge Donovan Mitchell fan I am. My hope is that they'll struggle, they'll lose, and ultimately he'll win out to come to the New York Knicks. That's my game plan for Donovan Mitchell because that's where he should have been to begin with. And don't get me started with that. But in the end, here's the bottom line. Cleveland looks like a bona fide threat within the Eastern Conference with everyone but Boston. You could say Boston as well because obviously, Cleveland, they get hot, they can beat anybody. I'm still not sold. I still believe if the New York Knicks come back healthy, and that's a huge if, the New York Knicks can take them just like they did last year. But it doesn't take away from what I'm seeing right now. Credit where credit is due to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and that was obviously a big-time performance in the fourth quarter by Max Strus, and clearly that was a big shot.
Made 5 threes. You're right about him. He was a disappearing act in the postseason. Listen, I don't necessarily believe in him in a short series. I don't know if they get enough offense. They got overmatched by the Knicks last year. They didn't do anything. Mitchell played poorly. Now, if you look at the big picture, they're the 2 seed right now, and they get a nice little lead over Milwaukee, Stevie, and Brian. So as a result, they will be in a spot where they get home court through the first couple of rounds of the postseason, and Cleveland, Milwaukee, let's say Knicks, Celtics, not knowing Embiid, those very well could be your semifinals. So the 2 seed to me is important because you don't have to deal with the Celtics into the NBA
The 2 or the 3 seed. The 2 or the 3 seed.
Yeah, either one. But, you want the 2s, then you're the home court against the Bucks.
Right.
So they have a chance to get that. But I don't necessarily believe in them offensively in a short series in a big spot. That's where I feel with Cleveland.
Go ahead, Wendy.
Yeah. So I think this game actually made me worry about the Cavs a little bit and impressed me with the Mavericks. But I'll get to that in a second because there's no way we can start today without talking about 3 crazy things about this fourth quarter, which probably will be one of the craziest fourth quarters. I say fourth quarter, I mean last 7 minutes. Because I'm going to tell you, 7 minutes to play, it's a tie game. 2 excellent teams, tie game. For the next 3 minutes on the clock, the first thing I watched was Luka and Kyrie killing the Cavs. Clinical, surgical offense, destroying one of the best defenses in the league. They were playing good defense, and they were giving up points. And in 3 minutes on the road, Dallas takes a 10-point lead. Just puts them in the ground. Very impressive. Then, Max Strus hits 4 three-pointers in like a minute and a half of game time. I'm not sure I've ever seen that. Like, we're talking like Tracy McGrady level hot streak there. That was before the 60-footer. He hits 4 threes in a minute and a half to save the Cavs in this game. This game was over, okay? And then the third thing, which is amazing, everybody was out of timeouts with 9 seconds left. The Mavericks inbound the ball and run a brilliant play. Luka Doncic shows incredible poise, which will be lost to the history and memory of the play he makes to get the Mavericks the lead. The Cavs have no guards in the game. Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, their 2 all-star level ball-handling guards, are on the bench because J.B. Bickerstaff wanted size on the court, which is one of the Cavs' issues, but that's not for right now. So he's now got 2 seconds, and they need to get a miracle shot off, and there are 2 guys that they have on the team that could maybe catch the ball, do 2 dribbles, and make a long shot, are sitting on the bench. This is a terrible situation. I mean, what's the chances of the Cavs winning here? It's like 1,000th of 1% with those 2 guards on the bench. So, but I will say this, the Cavs did have a play called, and it was the old-fashioned doggy. You've seen it before. It's the hook and ladder. It's the Valparaiso play. Bryce Drew, except for instead of throwing it 3 quarters, they threw it 1 quarter. And it's just a basic hook and ladder, and it's a 1 in 100 shot. And so to see those 3 things all play out in that last 7 minutes, absolutely jaw-dropping NBA basketball game.
100%, good point. And remember, no timeouts, so they couldn't get the ball at half court there at the end. Right? They had no Cleveland timeouts.
All right.
Couldn't call the timeout.
On this show, we pride ourselves on being fair. So I have to be fair. Wendy brings up Dallas. This brother, Kyrie Irving, have you been watching him?
Well, I had a big game last night. Got a big ovation.
Sure have.
Spectacular. Spectacular. I mean, he looks magical on the basketball court. I'm just telling you. And we all know what Luka looks like. Tim Legler, props to him, has been talking about the Dallas Mavericks for weeks. I'm paying attention now because they look absolutely unstoppable when you see Kyrie Irving and Luka clicking. And by the way, Tim Hardaway Jr. is nothing to sneeze at either. It's special to watch. It really is.
Absolutely. The Cavs or Mavs as sleeper teams in their respective conference, essay.
I view Dallas that way. Yes, I do. I think that Dallas, and you could say a sleeper, but think about it this way. We think about size, and we know they acquired some size, Molly.
Yeah.
Prior to the trading deadline with Gaffey and others, and I love Derek Lively personally. I really love what I see him, and I just think that Jason Kidd, I think he's a sensational coach. So I give credit where credit is due in that regard. But when I think about the rest of the Western Conference, as tough as it is, Minnesota, Oklahoma City, that's youth there. Dallas could take advantage of that, especially with people as great as Luka and Kyrie. Denver's a different animal because of their size, experience, and now championship pedigree. But the Lakers, they can't shoot like that. You can take them. The Clippers, they've been up and down as of late. They look like they could be had just like they can take anybody. And so that's up in the air. Phoenix struggles in the fourth quarter, struggles with leadership in the fourth quarter, which is why Kevin Durant was being a little bit petty when he kept talking about leadership, when he was being asked about it, sort of, just throwing shade at the media, whatever. But they've had a problem in the fourth quarter. They'll have to get that together, and we don't know about the status of Bradley Beal in terms of his up and down roller coaster ride as it pertains to his health. Dallas is formidable. They can score on anybody, and they've got not 1 but 2 showstoppers. I believe they're a sleeper. Cleveland, I'm not sold on yet. I believe in Donovan Mitchell. I really, really do. I believe in Darius Garland to a lesser degree. Everybody else to me is suspect. Am I supposed to believe and get caught up in last night and think that that's going to be the Max Strus that we see come playoff time? I'm not sold on that. A Jared Allen, who can play, a 15-10 guy. But is he going to show up come playoff time? I don't know about that. And so I don't think, when I talk about the sleepers, I'd look at Dallas as being more so of a formidable answer to that question than the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Well, I watched a lot of the Pelican game last night against the Knicks, and I understand the Knicks are all banged up. So you can't
4 starters down.
You can't look at the game from a standpoint of big win.
Sure.
But the Pelicans got a lot of players. I mean, they got 2 big offensive players. The kid Murphy can shoot. McCallum didn't even play. They can play some defense if they have to.
You like
the Travis Kelce lookalike and Vassiliunas. Let's throw him in there too.
Yep.
And I'll let Wendy take over. He
is the Travis Kelce lookalike. They're brothers. They
look exactly like. And Alan Hahn said that. So I don't want to.
Well, I've been saying it for years.
Swift who said it?
No, it was Hahn who said. So I don't want to
get
steal
their parents together, and we got to investigate that tree. They look like
that's unbelievable.
Brothers.
But
it's unbelievable how they look alike.
I'll let Wendy handle it from here. The NBA in the West is fascinating because the ninth and the Warriors and the Lakers, they're going to be in a play-in game. They're going to be in a play-in spot against Curry and LeBron in that situation. That's very risky. And I can't separate Pelicans, Thunder, Timberwolves, and Mavericks. I don't think any of the 4 is going to win a conference. But I think any of the 4 can be very, very dangerous. I think it's Clippers, Denver in the conference final. So I can't separate those middle 4, in which I would put there, Wendy, I put the Mavericks right in the mix there with the Pelicans, Thunder, and Timberwolves.
So Kyrie came back from his latest injury 9 games ago. They are 7-2 in those games, and I'm going to give them an asterisk for last night because they deserved to win that game last night. It goes down as a loss. Great job, but I'm not even talking about that. In those 9 games since Kyrie came back, Luka Doncic is averaging 34 points, 9.5 rebounds, 9.5 assists. He's basically averaging a 34-point triple-double alongside Kyrie. The trades that they made, by the way, Kyrie in this stretch, guys, he's averaging 27, 5, and 5. He's putting up massive numbers across the board. Plus, the trades gave them size. Stephen A. mentioned that twice. It's so important in the Western Conference because you're either going to need size to go up against the big teams like Denver, like Minnesota, or you're going to need size to go up against the teams that want to play small and overwhelm them, like Golden State and Phoenix. So the way that they were able to add size and the way these two guys are playing, extremely impressive. But I want to talk about the Cavs real quick. They are 3-3 in their last 6 games. They should be 2-4. Okay, they hit the shot. Great victory. Their problem is that their best players, when they're on the court, they don't play their best basketball. Evan Mobley has been back from his own injury for 13 games. The Cavs have won 10 of them. That sounds awesome. They're great. The problem is, in 9 of those games, he's been negative in plus-minus. Because when he's on the court, they can't spread the floor. When Max Strus was making all those threes last night, he was essentially playing power forward because J.B. Bickerstaff took Evan Mobley off the court. And it's not a commentary on Evan Mobley. It's a commentary on they need the floor spread for Donovan Mitchell. And I don't want to ruin your morning, Stephen A., but I don't know if the Donovan Mitchell Knicks thing is really still a possibility. I guess it is because he can be a free agent in a year.
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't know how Donovan feels. I don't know how he feels, but I got to imagine as a kid from New York who wanted to play for the Knicks in 2022, that's where he wanted to get traded. That's not an insult to Cleveland. I'm from Cleveland. I'm not insulting it. He wanted to be a Knick. He's got to be looking at what Jalen Brunson has and feeling like, damn, like that could have been me. Because Jalen Brunson crying in front of the fans when he gets named to the All-Star game. Jalen Brunson's name echoing in the streets of New York. Jalen Brunson becoming a hero at the Garden. Yep. I don't know if Donovan Mitchell, first off, I don't even know if they fit, Stephen A., and I don't know if Donovan Mitchell can come into this team.
You stop that blasphemy.
All right.
You stop that blasphemy. You stop it right now. I don't want to hear that. Donovan Mitchell is a scorer. Donovan Mitchell is a #1 scoring option. I don't think anybody would deny that. There's levels, there's tiers to superstar status, but this brother is something special. That's #1. #2, we can look at their size and them being undersized, and I get that part. But look at everywhere else. They have size. And when you take that into consideration, along with Thibodeau's ability to coach defense, what you need if you're the New York Knicks, trust me on this, my Lord, please don't sit up there and listen to Wendy echoing this stuff. And people might go we can't have this, Wendy. We can't have you distracted the New York Knicks fans. You have to have a scoring option. See, we get caught up in what we see the Knicks doing during the regular season. For years, you doing New York radio. You get caught up in what the New York Knicks are doing in the regular season. And then come playoff time, when it's a best 4 of 7, when you've got the Spoelstras of the world and others able to game plan against you. And really, it comes down to everybody knowing what the hell you're going to do. But what you going to do about it. You got to have that dude on your offensive side of the ball. As great as Jalen Brunson is, and as great as I know he will continue to be, he's not enough. And Julius Randle, God bless him. I hope he comes back healthy. We really, really need him. He's a workhorse. He shows up to work every day. Mad love and respect to him. But I can't rely on him, especially with shooting. Come playoff time, I need another offensive weapon. I need a dude that could put it in a hole, that could help Jalen Brunson do that. I know it. Donovan Mitchell knows it. Now, is he going to leave Cleveland? New York Knicks, 11 first-round picks over the next 7 years. 6 first-round picks over the next 2. You can trade for some assets now, but in Mitchell's case, he's going to be a free agent after next season. And he wanted to be in New York to begin with. Leon Rose and Gershon Rojas on the phone trying to bluff the great Danny Ainge. The most stupidest thing is Leon's done a great job, give him credit. But how stupid can you be to try to bluff Danny Ainge? That was not smart, okay? Otherwise, Donovan Mitchell would have been here. Don't believe that blasphemy, Wendy.
What do you think
Don't say it.
Before we move on, what do you think it would take to get Mitchell?
Me personally?
Yeah,
well, first of all, I think that he has to want to leave,
I'm
which
gonna tell you what it
which
would
I
take.
believe he will. But it'll be a couple of first-round picks.
Like what?
It'll be a couple of first-round picks. It don't need to be 3 or 4, anything like that. It'll be a couple. But he's worth it.
Wendy, tell me, what do you think it would take?
I mean, look, first off, Donovan Mitchell, he's going to get offered a contract extension this offseason.
Yeah.
He's either going to take it and stay in Cleveland or not take it, and then all hell's going to break loose.
That's right.
And if that happens, the Cavs are going to, want everything from the Knicks. They're going to want 6 first-round picks from the Knicks. That doesn't mean they're going to get it.
Right.
But I'm just telling you, Stephen A., Donovan Mitchell is now a point guard. He's become a point guard for the Cavs. The reason they're in second place is because how well he's played a point guard. He gets into problems when he's got to share the ball. you'd be hurting both of them by bringing them together. And I think
No.
that's a
I think
factor as he's thinking about what he's going to do.
if you're looking at their games, you're right. I think if you're looking at their basketball IQs, their selflessness, their willingness to play together, I think those are the adjustments that can easily be made by guys of that ilk. You're right in terms of what you're watching with the eye, but we've seen Donovan Mitchell as a two-guard. We've seen him in the postseason in Utah. We've seen that this brother can show up and put the ball in the hole, and we know for a fact that the New York Knicks do not have enough offensively, okay, to sit up there and have to. You need a number one option, and it doesn't need to be Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson's great. But you can't ask him to be a number one option and carry you through the playoffs as deep as I want the Knicks to go.
Well, Monroe and Frazier did it, right?
I mean, in 1973?
Well, I was saying, won a championship. The last time they won a title.
You mean 50 years ago?
The last time they won a title, big guy, they brought Monroe in and they won.
I understand.
And you know, one thing about Donovan Mitchell, can we calm down? Did anybody see him last year against the Knicks?
He wasn't awful. He had some good games.
He was awful.
No. He didn't have a great playoff series. He had some great moments. He had some good games.
They got smoked with home court. They lost in 5 games.
Well, you know what? They were an inferior team.
Hometown kid.